Alhamdulillah, salatu salam ala Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that there are 7 categories of people on the day of judgment who will be in the shade of Allah azawajal, or the shade of the throne of Allah, on the day when there's no shade except for His shade. Now, when you look at all of these categories of people, you'll see that something that's a commonality between all of them is the presence of taqwa. And so the first is a just ruler. And a just ruler, what would cause a ruler to be just if it wasn't for the fact that he believed or she believed that there was someone above them who was going to hold them accountable for what they do and how they treat their subjects. The second is a person who grew up in the worship of Allah azawajal. And so this person growing up in the worship of Allah azawajal means the presence of taqwa. They fulfill what has been commanded of them and they avoid the prohibition. That's what worshiping Allah azawajal is. And so the third is a person whose heart, or a man whose heart, is attached to the masjid. So this person is coming consistently to the obligation of salah, and a person wouldn't do that without the presence of taqwa. The fourth is and this is very explicit and it's very easy to connect, a man who is called to zina by a woman of beauty and of status or lineage, and he says to her, I fear Allah. And so what becomes a barrier between him and that sin is him wanting to have a barrier between him and the punishment of Allah azawajal, which is what taqwa is. The fifth are 2 people who come together for the sake of Allah and they depart for the sake of Allah. They love each other for the sake of Allah. And that is due to the presence of taqwa as well. I mean, you fear Allah azawajal with regards to that person, and they fear Allah azawajal with regards to you. And that is what garners love between 2 people. The sixth is a person who gives in charity so secretly that his right hand does not know what his left hand gave. And that is also due to taqwa, the presence of taqwa. What stops that person from bragging and showing off and doing it publicly is that they want what is with Allah azawajal, and they fear, they have taqwa that their good deeds will be erased due to having some sort of hidden shirk or some sort of riya with regards to it. And the last one is another obvious connection, which is a person who remembers Allah azawajal in seclusion, and so their eyes tear because of that. They fear Allah azawajal. No one is seeing them. It's not done for the camera. It's not done for anything else. No one is present. They are by themselves. It is just them and Allah azawajal. And in those moments, their heart trembles and their eyes tear from the fear of Allah azawajal. And these are the people. I may have gotten the order mixed up, by the way. I always get the lists wrong. But these are the 7 categories of people who are in the shade of Allah azawajal on the day when there is no shade except for His. And I ask Allah azawajal that you and I be of them, and that we be of the people of taqwa, and that we be in His shade on the day when there is no shade except for His.